We shall wait, although it is exactly 5. However, students have reported some network. We shall continue. Announcement for the students is the following. The chat box is disabled, as you can see easily. You have to post your query only in the question answer box. I'm announcing again, the chat box is disabled for today. If you have any query, you have to post it only on your question answer box. The question answers will be taken up directly by the speaker when the speaker decides to take them, that is after a certain portion of the PPT or the lecture is over. The speaker shall take up the question answers from and will take up the questions given by you. In case, due to paucity of time, all the questions in the question answer box are not being picked up today, then as I said, you can make a list of your questions and send them to NASI email ID. We shall try to answer all your queries. However, because of the large number of participants and a very large number of questions, you should have patience if somebody does not reply to your query immediately. Okay, it shall be done eventually, but definitely it will take 1 or 2 days time to get the answers. In case there is any numerical which you are stuck up with, then you are allowed to ask that through email by addressing carefully that this particular email is intended for such and such speaker. So you have to be very, very clear about whom you are talking. You have to mention the day, and you have to mention which lecture on which day, because on every day we have more than one speakers also. So these are the few announcements, and as we can see, the number of attendees are increasing. I'm repeating again for all those who are joining, no chat enabling today, and question answers only in the question answer box. Will be taken up directly by the speaker, and if they are not taken care of, you are requested to kindly post it on the email ID and give us some time to get back to you with an answer. If you have a certain numerical or a problem, you can ask, provided you have tried it. So you will have to tell why you're not able to solve it. So you'll have to show that you have at least tried to solve it, maybe to some extent, maybe to complete extent, or so on. So please be sure that you are asking a sensible numerical, a sensible question. However, it does not mean that you cannot ask whatever is coming to your mind. You can certainly ask, but the attitude and the perspective should be that of learning. And I think that enough is a great indication. And today we are not going live on YouTube. This is NASI Delhi Chapter Organization's decision. The video will be uploaded after the webinar is over. We will have a session with Dr. Rachna, and then Dr. Gitanjali Sethi will join us after her talk for completing fluid dynamics with us. So now it is 5 almost, and at this time my co-convener Dr. Pushpa Vindal is there with us. Please share the slide in the slideshow mode only, Dr. Savita. So due to some technical problem, there is a repeated shutting off of the microphone, and therefore we have to be attentive towards it. So Dr. Rachna, if in case your mic is muted, one of us will be telling you to kindly unmute yourself. If it is so. So Dr. Pushpa Bindal is here. Dr. Pushpa Bindal, I request you to welcome Dr. Rachna. However, I request you to let me have the pleasure today of singing praises of our very respected Dr. Rachna Kumar. I'm sure you have done it many times in your life.
Okay. I welcome Dr. Rachna heartily. She is my colleague and a very dear friend. And I can assure the participants that because she is an excellent teacher, she is also a very good person. Cannot hear her clearly.
Dr. Pushpa, your mic is getting muted.
Okay, I'll start again. I heartily welcome Dr.
Still not clear.
Not clear. Okay. Now, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So today, our first speaker is
No.
Dr. Rachna Kumar from Kalindi College. She is my colleague and a very, very dear friend. And I can
Madam, the voice is not clear.
like her talk, she is going to give you a real good material for understanding. So I would request all the student participants to pay our full attention. So welcome Dr. Rachna. And now I ask Dr. Punita Verma.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am, for allowing me to sing praises of our very dear Dr. Rachna. So students, Dr. Rachna Kumar started her career as a scientist in Solid State Physics Laboratory, DRDO, that is Defense and Research Development Organization of Government of India. Due to her passion for teaching, she has joined Department of Physics, Kalindi College. She has done her graduation and post-graduation from Hindu College, Delhi University. She is a gold medalist of the university and has about 30 years of teaching experience. She has done her PhD from Maastricht University, Netherlands, and postdoctorate from Asian Institute of Technology, Thailand. She has 15 research published papers and 4 books. She is recipient of Award for College Lecturer from Delhi Government in 2015 and the Meghnad Saha Award from Government of India for Popular Science Writing, among others. Dr. Rachna's CV was, as I read, and is in front of you. However, I would like to add that Dr. Rachna's teaching and her way of teaching and her knowledge and the depth of the knowledge is so profound and so deep that even when her students who have passed out of the college enter different universities, their friends seek Dr. Rachna's directions, her guidelines through her notes and her knowledge, because it is really superb. And I have not yet found any single student who has gone into MSc entrance examination, JEST, etc., and has said that the electromagnetic theory as covered by Dr. Rachna has ever been insufficient. So for this one subject, students of our college have been always relaxed because it completely covers all that is required for graduation. And ma'am has taken out time from a busy schedule to give us few lectures, and I request her earnestly to kindly think that she can probably give more lectures to our students so that the teaching learning methodology continues. Over to you, Dr. Rachna, and welcome with a very, very warm heart.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Bindal, and thank you, Dr. Punita. A bit of exaggeration. So
it was not an exaggeration, ma'am. It is
first
not an exaggeration.
So shall I share my screen first?
Yes.
Shall I already share my screen? Okay. Um, no, I'm not able to go to the first slide.
Your first slide is
Yeah.
visible, Dr. Rachna.
No, it's, yes.
Madam, it is the
Now,
fourth
are
slide
they
now.
visible?
Yes, the fourth
It
slide.
is
So
the
you
fourth
have to
slide
scroll
that
back.
we can see.
Are they? No,
Yeah.
it is first slide.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Perfect,
Now,
perfect, perfect.
now it is the first slide on my. Now, okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I would first like to Nasi, Delhi chapter, for providing us with this opportunity and platform to reach to the students. And I would like to thank respected Professor Ghatak. He is a very learned from his lecture. So I would like to thank also Dr. Punita Verma, convener of this event, for inviting me. Thank co-convener Dr. Pushpa Bindal for having fruitful discussions with her. And further, I would also like to thank all my hosts of today for carrying on this online session. So this is our electromagnetic theory recap part 1.
Ma'am, your voice is breaking a little.
Myself,
Ma'am,
Rachna
your voice
Kumar
is
from
breaking a
Kalindi
little.
College. So my, yes, okay.
So,
Shall I come closer? Now is it better?
no, ma'am,
Is it better?
I think you should switch off your video so that the audio comes clear. And when you finish with your slides, then you can switch on your video again. Then it will go even better.
Okay. 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 But I cannot switch off anything now. Maybe the host can do that because no, it's coming. Can they do that?
Okay, now it is done, ma'am. Now you are
Is it
speaking and we
possible?
are listening. Yes.
Okay.
Dr. Pushpa, you also kindly stop your video so that the network comes with only one voice. Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
So mine would be as per this forum, mine would be a conceptual and problem-based approach. And I would be starting with the understanding that by this completed your course not only one time, but many times. So I'm not discussing any detailed theory here in the limited time framework. I would be covering mostly the formulas and some numericals, which shall prove helpful to you in your various exams, like maybe the OB exam, which is just around the corner, MSc. So let's start with the topic. So in this session, I would be covering the concepts and numericals on the topics, Maxwell's equations, the parameters D, B, E, and H, pointing vector, displacement current, unity equation. So Maxwell's equations, they are the very fundamental equations of electromagnetic theory. All of you know they are 4 in number. First of all, divergence D is equal to rho F. All of them here are the differential forms. First is the Gauss's law in electrostatics. Divergence B is 0 in magnetostatics. Curl E is equal to minus del B by del T, Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. Curl H is equal to JF plus del D by del T. That is Maxwell's modification of Ampere's circuital law, and the most important one here. And for the sake of, I'll come to it later on in the as the lecture proceeds. So JD, which is standing above in the fourth equation, JD is del D by del T is epsilon 0 del E by del T. We will come to it later on. So the parameters we will be talking again and again in Maxwell's equation would be D, B, E, and H. So they stand for these things. D, all of you know these things. D is electric displacement vector with units of coulomb per meter cube. B is magnetic induction in Weber per meter square. E is electric field intensity in volt per meter. H is magnetic field intensity in ampere per meter. And the expression we are having are D is equal to epsilon naught E plus P. P is your polarization vector, the magnetization vector. And if P and M are 0, which is the situation in most of the cases, we get the standard formulas of D is equal to epsilon naught E and B is equal to mu naught H. Now, the displacement current density is a very important parameter for the electromagnetic theory. So let's go a little bit in the concept of this. As all of you know that the concept given by Faraday was a changing magnetic field can give rise to an electric field. You have done it in your school classes. This equation EMF is minus del phi by del T. And you are very familiar with the statement, whenever the flux linked with the circuit is changing, an EMF is generated. So what he meant was that a magnetic field is changing and you are given by Maxwell. You can see that this was the I shall continue. So we have already discussed the concept given by Faraday. So this is now the concept given by Maxwell, which is the reverse effect of this. A changing electric field can also give rise to a magnetic field. Please note the difference from the Faraday's. Faraday say a changing magnetic field can give rise to an electric field, while Maxwell said the opposite. A changing electric field can also give rise to a magnetic field. So our equation here is curl of H is JF plus del D by del T, or in other way, curl of B is equal to mu naught J total, the change form of Ampere's circuital law. So these two concepts made the whole story of the electromagnetic waves, and upon which the concept of the theory of electromagnetic waves is based. Am I unmuted? Can you? Question number 1. A wave has E is equal to E sine omega t minus kz y cap.
Madam, are you
Find
using,
D.
ma'am, please
Yes.
once again, are you using 4G or are you using a Wi-Fi?
I'm using a 4G.
Ma'am, if a Wi-Fi is available, then can you switch to Wi-Fi?
Are you not able? Okay, 1 minute.
No, your ma'am,
Can
your
you not hear?
No, ma'am, it's coming with a delay, and it's coming with a delay, and there is some disturbance. There is a delay which is not clear.
Okay.
Dr. Seema, please mute yourself once again. And so, ma'am, please transfer to a Wi-Fi internet access.
Okay, I
And
will
let's see,
stop
maybe.
here for a minute. Then I will stop
Yes,
here
yes,
for
yes.
a minute and. Okay.
So today we also have Dr. Seema Gupta with us. She shall be also another person who will be taking some lectures on. So announcement to the students. I welcome Dr. Seema Gupta.
Hello, Punita.
Yes, Dr. Seema, welcome to this session, and you will be teaching our students. For that, we are very.
Yeah, for sure.
Are you able to hear me now? Hello?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you. Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes,
should
ma'am.
I
Now
start
it is
from the
clear.
very beginning now, or you were able to hear the starting slides?
We were able to hear the starting slides from this slide itself.
Okay, there was problem. So please check me out whenever there is problem, because it was continuously coming that you are muted by the host and you are unmuted by the host.
Ma'am, that's just some network thing, nothing from our side.
Okay. So
Okay.
shall I once again revert back to share screen?
Yes, ma'am, please do.
So the starting 2 slides were okay. I don't need to repeat them.
Yes. And Dr. Professor Ghatak, I think he has just left us. No, he's here with us. He's here
Okay.
with us. Welcome, welcome, Professor Ghatak. Sir, thank you so much.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. I can't hear you at all.
Okay,
Yes,
sir.
sir, there was some network problem. I'm sure
So
as
maybe
soon
I
as
will
she
repeat
switches.
from the slide 1. It is better, I think.
Okay, ma'am, as you like.
Rashmi ma'am.
This is okay, ma'am. This is okay. This question 1 is okay. It's fine.
There is
It's
an
perfect.
extra Y here. There is an extra Y here.
Here, sir.
There
Why
is an
Okay, question 1. A wave traveling in free space has E is equal to E naught sine omega t minus kz y cap. Find D, B and H. So we are given the form of E and we are asked to find the parameters D, B and H. Now from the definitions which we saw on the earlier slides, D is just epsilon naught E. So it is simple, we have to just multiply the given expression by epsilon naught and we get back D. So it is epsilon naught E naught sine omega t minus kz. Yeah, extra y, I can see that. Thank you, Professor Ghatak. This y should not be there inside the bracket. So, and y cap. So let us see the other parameters. Oh, it is not possible to go to the next slide. Why? Well, we are stuck somewhere. Okay, yes. So next, for the next two parameters, we have to use Maxwell's equation. Curl E is minus del B by del T. So for one time, I'm putting the curl detail here, and from the other points, you will have to do it. So all of you know how to take the curl. So x cap, y cap, z cap, del by del x, del by del y, del by del z, 0. And for the x component and the z component, and y component is in between. So when you solve the determinant, which you know how to do that, we get minus del B by del T, E naught K cos omega T minus KZ x cap. So that from minus del B by del T, how do we get B? We integrate with respect to time and we get minus K E naught by omega sine omega T minus KZ x cap. And from there, we have to get the last parameter, that is H. H is B by mu 0. So whatever is the expression of B, you divide that by mu 0. So you will get H. So minus K E0 by mu naught omega sine omega T minus KZ x cap. So we have all the three parameters which were asked from us from the given value of E, D, B and H. Question 2. For an electromagnetic wave traveling in free space given by E is equal to Em sine omega t minus beta z y cap, what's the value of B? Well, it is more or less like the question 1 only. So your step 1 would be curl E is equal to minus del B by del T. So curl E is equal to, you obtain the curl of this given value of E. So you can try it on the paper. What the value we are going to get is minus Em beta cos omega t minus beta z x cap. This will be my Maxwell's equation minus del B by del T, and B can be obtained once again as you have done in question 1 by integrating with respect to T. So what B we are going to get? Minus Em beta by omega sine omega t minus beta z x cap. Okay. This is our third question. This is of the MCQ type, because in most of the entrance examinations, you are getting MCQ type of questions. Which of the following is an impossible magnetic field B? You have been given 4 options. Okay, so these 4 options are there. You are asked that which of them is not possible as a magnetic field B. Now, which Maxwell's equation is going to govern our B? The easiest one is divergence B is equal to 0. The second equation. So from what we have to do in this question is we have to take the divergence of all the 4 options, and whenever divergence of B is not coming as 0, that will be our answer, that is not possible as a magnetic field. Okay. So now you can try this later on to take the divergence of all the 4 options. I would just guide you that how to reach the answer. So for the fourth option, we will get divergence b not equal to 0. The fourth option is b is equal to 6xz x cap plus 3yz square y cap. So when you take the divergence, you are going to get 6z plus 6z. So that obviously is not equal to 0. So option D is the correct one here. For the other options, you will get divergence equal to 0. So they are possible, but this option is not possible as a correct magnetic field.
Dr. Rachna,
Yes.
ma'am, the students are requesting that could you just slow down the speed a little bit. They're
Okay.
trying to follow you just a little bit.
Okay,
They
sure,
are requesting, if you agree.
sure, my pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So let's come to the concept, very important concept of Poynting vector briefly. Poynting vector is the most important concept in electromagnetic theory. Okay. So electromagnetic wave, as you know, it is a well-known fact that it can transport energy from one region to the other. Now this you have seen with the sun rays, microwaves, etc. This phenomena. Now the rate at which energy is transported by a wave across a unit area at any instant. I'll repeat, the rate at which energy is transported by a wave across a unit area at any instant would be given by instantaneous Poynting vector. That is given by delta is equal to E cross H. Our instantaneous Poynting vector is E cross H. Our time average Poynting vector is defined as, in some cases, we need to have the time average Poynting vector also. Time average is defined as half of real part of E cross H star. Now, what is this H star? H star is complex conjugate of H. So we have instantaneous Poynting vector or time average Poynting vector. So it is representing us power radiated per unit area. Poynting vector is representing us power radiated per unit area, and units would be watt per meter square. Watt per meter square. Now for plane electromagnetic waves, E and H are at right angles to each other and at further right angles to the direction of propagation. We will come to it more in detail as we go further in the slides. So for the moment, you know that E, H and K. K is a wave vector in the direction of propagation. They form a rectangular triad. E, H and K are at right angles to each other for plane electromagnetic waves. So since delta is given by the cross product of E and H, so it has to be the perpendicular to the plane containing E and H. So only direction remaining for this is direction of wave propagation. So what we mean to say here is that delta will be in the direction of wave propagation. Okay. So direction of delta, as you already know, we have seen in the earlier slide, it is representing us the energy flow. So direction of delta gives us the direction of energy flow for isotropic medium. So we have to remember here that E, H and delta are at right angles to each other for isotropic medium. So let's address one numerical based on this Poynting vector concept. Given that the power radiated by sun is 3.8 into 10 to the power of 26 watts and radius of sun is 7 into 10 to the power of 8 meters. What is the magnitude of Poynting vector at the surface of sun? Now what is given to us? Power radiated by sun and radius of sun. So magnitude of Poynting vector we have just now discussed is power radiated per unit area. So power is given to us in the question. Area we have to see. Now sun is going to be a spherical body. So you don't have to take it as pi r square. That will be wrong. That is circle. So you have to take it as a sphere, 4 pi r square. So just put in the value of r, 7 into 10 to the power of 8 whole square. So it is 3.8 into 10 to the power of 26 divided by 4 pi into 7 into 10 to the power of 8 whole square. And when you evaluate it, if you have a calculator, then you can find it out to be 6.17 into 10 to the power of 7 watt per meter square. That's our answer for the magnitude of Poynting vector at the surface of sun when we are given the power as well as the radius. Now next question again on the Poynting vector, differently asked. If Earth receives 2 calorie minute per centimeter square solar energy, what are the amplitudes of electric and magnetic field of radiation? I'll repeat the question. If Earth receives 2 calorie minute inverse centimeter minus 2 solar energy, what are the amplitudes of electric and magnetic fields of radiation? So we are given once again the magnitude of Poynting vector, and we are asked E naught and V naught. Now we are given the magnitude of Poynting vector, but you can see it is in the units of calorie meter inverse centimeter minus 2, which is not an MKS unit. So our first attempt would be to convert it to a MKS unit. That is always remains to be a part of numericals, that you have to see the units very properly. So let's see the solution to this question. The magnitude is, as we have done, it is E cross H magnitude. And we have just discussed that for a plane wave, E and H are at 90 degrees to each other. So we can just write them out to be product of EH. Okay. So now what is our Poynting vector magnitude? It is given in the numerical 2 calorie minute inverse centimeter minus 2. So calorie, all of you know how to convert in joules, multiplied by 4.2. What about minute inverse? Will go in the denominator as 60 for converting to second inverse, and centimeter minus 2 will go in the numerator as 10 to the power of 4 for meter minus 2. So that will be 1400 joules per meter square second inverse, that is in MKS. You are now having the magnitude of Poynting vector with you as equation 1. Now we have to get E naught and V naught. Yes, anybody? Okay. Now E by H ratio, we are here asked the two quantities, amplitudes of electric and magnetic field of radiation. Now this is a simple rule of mathematics that if you have to answer two quantities, you need two equations as well. So from equation 1, we have one equation. We have to get two quantities, you need to have two equations also. So our second equation is actually the standard equation for the wave impedance in free space. This will come later on, but at the moment just use it. E by H is 377 ohm. We'll come to this later on in our slides. So E by H we take to be 377 ohms. This becomes our equation 2. So we now have two equations. One is giving the magnitude of Poynting vector EH is 1400 joules meter square second inverse, equation 1. E by H is 377 ohms, equation 2. Now if you have to get E or even H, what we can do? You can think about it. You can, if you multiply 1 and 2, H is going to cancel because one has product of EH, other has division of E by H. So if we multiply them together, H is going to cancel and we are going to get E square. So multiplying 1 and 2 together, E square is just the multiplication of two quantities, 1400 as in equation 1, 377 as in equation 2. So you can take very well with the help of your calculator once again the under root of this, and we get 726.1 volt per meter as the answer for our electric field magnitude. Now it's very easy to get magnetic field H, since EH is delta magnitude. So what we are going to go? H we are going to write as magnitude of Poynting vector divided by E, and magnitude of Poynting vector you had found out here was 1400. So 1400 divided by the value of E which you have obtained just now, that is what? 726.1. So when you divide 1400 by 726.1, we get 1.928 ampere per meter. So basically we have got both E and H values magnitude. And now if you remember, we are asked in the question the amplitudes of electric and magnetic field of radiation. So the amplitudes are obtained by just multiplying these quantities by root 2. That you can do yourself, that you get E naught as E into root 2. So 726.1 you have to multiply by root 2, and H naught is H into root 2. So 1.928 also multiplied by root 2, and you get the final answers to your question. Now we come to the plane waves in free space. Some recapture so that we can attempt some numerical based upon them. Now the wave equations in free space, by doing some mathematics, which you will get in every standard EMT book, you can obtain the wave equations of this form. Because the sigma term will drop out, conductivity is 0 in free space. So we'll get the wave equations, two equations for E and H. Del square E minus mu 0 epsilon 0, del square E by del T square is 0, and del square H minus mu 0 epsilon 0, del square H by del T square is equal to 0. You know what are mu 0 and epsilon 0? Permeability and permittivity of free space. We also get the is equal to the velocity of light, that is 1 by mu 0 epsilon 0 under root. Okay, so we know the standard values of mu 0 and epsilon 0. That is available in the books everywhere. So when we put them here, we get the velocity of light. So we know that plane waves in free space are traveling with velocity of light. Now for the second order differential equation, solution of the wave equation as E is equal to E naught exponential I k dot r minus omega t. The solution of the equation would be E is equal to E naught exponential I k dot r minus omega t. And similar would be the solution for the H equation also. H is H naught e raised to power I k dot r minus omega t. We will see all these parameters k, omega, etc. as we go further in our slides. Now this is introducing you to this. You already know what introducing, that electromagnetic waves are said to be transverse waves. What do we mean by that? That if E is in the direction of J or Y and B is in the direction of K or Z, then E cross H is delta. You have seen it that E cross H is delta. So when we take J cross K, we get I. That is the direction of the wave propagation as well as the direction of the Poynting vector, both. So electromagnetic waves are said to be transverse waves. That is E, H and K are 90 degrees to each other. So if the direction of E is taken as Y direction, B is taken as Z direction, automatically by the cross product, delta or the direction of wave propagation is going to come as the I direction or the I cap direction or the X direction. Now the free space wave impedance Z0, which is actually E by H ratio, is come out to be mu 0 by epsilon 0 under root. And this, as you put it, if you remember, we had used it in the last numerical. So if you put mu 0 and epsilon 0 here and take the under root, you're going to get 377 ohms. Now in some of the numericals, we can put it as 120 pi and we want to cancel at pi very quickly. We can use it as 120 pi also. It comes handy for the numericals. Ratio of electrostatic and magnetic energy density, that is UE by UM, comes out to be half epsilon 0 E square divided by half mu 0 H square, and this will cancel out to be coming out to be equal to 1 for the case of free space. So electrostatic energy density is equal to the magnetic energy density for free space. Now the average of Poynting vector for the free space is E naught square n cap by Z naught. Z naught is the free space wave impedance given above, and n cap is the unit vector in the direction of the wave propagation vector k. So these formulas are written because they are going to be useful in our next numericals. These are all standard derivations given in every book. So we are not deriving them here. I am sure that you must have derived them already multiple times. And E naught by H naught is given as, the ratio is given as mu naught C. Now we can here define also another parameter, radiant flux density or intensity. Now, since you have already written delta is E cross H, you have written in last slides. The plane wave can also be written as either it can be represented by the exponential way or it can also be represented by sine or cos. So E will be represented as E naught cos kx minus omega t. You can also take it to be equal to omega t minus kx. In wave nomenclature, they are the same thing. Only thing is if you put a plus sign in between, it will become an opposite wave in direction. So next is H is B by mu naught and C is given as 1 by mu 0 epsilon 0 under root. So delta can be represented as, our pointing vector can be represented as C square epsilon 0 E cross B. If you put the value of H as B by mu naught and mu naught you convert it by taking the help of C is equal to 1 by mu 0 epsilon 0 under root, you get this formula C square epsilon 0 E cross B. If you put in the plane wave solution, C square epsilon 0 E naught cross B naught cos square kx minus omega t. So one cos is coming from E, one cos is coming from B. So E naught cross B naught cos square kx minus omega t. Now the radiant flux density or intensity is defined by the time average of, these brackets represent the time average of pointing vector. So our last expression was C square epsilon 0 E naught cross B naught cos square kx minus omega t. So whatever is the factor depending upon time, that only can be taken in the time average. Rest will stand constant. So we are outside the bracket. C square epsilon 0 E naught cross B naught time average of cos square kx minus omega t. That is the only term which is depending upon time here. So now we also know that E naught is equal to C B naught. It is written here that H is equal to B by mu naught, or another way E naught is C B naught and E is perpendicular to B. So E naught cross B naught will simply give you E naught B naught because the angle between them is 90. So our intensity, which is the time average of pointing vector, will be C epsilon 0 E naught square by 2. So B naught I have converted here to E naught. So these are different formulas which will be useful according to what is given to us and what is being asked. So if E naught is given and something else is asked, you can use this formula. If E naught and B naught both are given, then you can keep it in the form of E naught B naught upon 2 mu naught. So these are the different representations of the formulas which will come handy to you for solving the numericals. So let's come to our next numerical. A plane electromagnetic wave moving through free space has an E field given by Ex is 0, Ey is 0, Ez is 100 sine 8 pi into 10 to the power of 14 t minus x by 3 into 10 to the power of 8. Such a huge formula given to you. Calculate the corresponding flux density. Now what is given? Ex is 0, Ey is 0, only Ez component is there. So we have asked flux density. Okay, let's see. We have just seen the formula intensity or the flux density, same thing. C epsilon 0 E naught square by 2. You see this is in the here. The last line, intensity is C epsilon 0 E naught square by 2. We come back here. Okay. So intensity is C epsilon 0 E naught square by 2. Now what all is known to us? C is known to us, velocity of light 3 into 10 to the power of 8. Epsilon 0 standard value 8.85 into 10 to the power of minus 12. E naught, what is E naught? E naught is the quantity which is standing outside the bracket. That is Ez is E naught times sine whatever. So 100. So 100 square. The power of 8, 8.85 into 10 to the power of minus 12, 100 square by 2. So once again, we have to take help of the calculator and calculate this huge quantity. And when you do that intensity value, you are going to get 13.3 units watt per meter square. So what was asked in our question? Flux density or the intensity in other words. So we get the value as 13.3 watt per meter square. Our next question. So you can read the question. I will take 2 minutes. Yes. An electromagnetic plane wave is propagating with an intensity 1 into 10 to the power of 5 watt per meter square in a medium with epsilon 3 epsilon 0 and mu is equal to mu 0. What is the amplitude of electric field inside the medium? So let's read it once more. An electromagnetic plane wave is propagating with an intensity is given to us 1 into 10 to the power of 5 in a medium. Medium parameters are given to us. Epsilon is 3, epsilon 0, mu is mu 0. We are asked amplitude of electric field inside the medium or the value of E naught. Basically, we are being asked. So once again, our same equation. There it was C epsilon 0. Here we will use V epsilon. Why? What is the logic? Because that was free space. This is inside the medium. So C will get replaced by V. Epsilon 0 will get replaced with epsilon. E naught square by 2 will remain the same. So our intensity formula will become V epsilon E naught square by 2. And now we have to get E naught. So we bring the formula in terms of E naught. So it will become E naught square is equal to, you just have to cross multiply 2I, 2 times intensity by V epsilon. E naught square becomes 2 into I by V epsilon. And V is given by 1 by epsilon mu under root. This is also a little bit different from earlier use because that was free space. So you were using epsilon 0, mu 0. Now you have to use epsilon and mu for velocity in the medium. So our E naught square becomes, since we have to use 2I by V epsilon, so 2 into I, in, when you put V, then what will cancel out? One mu will cancel out. No, one epsilon will cancel out. So you will be resulting with mu by epsilon under root. Okay. So when you put in the value of V in the denominator, you will get it as, after cutting one under root epsilon, you will get mu by epsilon under root. So now you can put in all the values. Intensity is given to you. See, intensity is 1 into 10 to the power of 5. Epsilon is 3 epsilon 0, mu is mu 0. So you put in all the values, then put mu 0 and epsilon 0 also. And once you calculate, you have to take the under root also, because see, the expression is for E naught square and you have to get E naught. So put in value of intensity, put the value of parameter of mu given to you in the numerical, put in epsilon and take the under root, take one more under root of the whole thing, and you arrive to E naught as 6.6 into 10 to the power of 3 volt per meter. That is the value which is being asked, amplitude of electric field inside the medium. So our answer is 6.6 into 10 to the power of 3 volt per meter. Next question. A plane electromagnetic wave, this is once again an MCQ question. A plane electromagnetic wave of frequency 30 megahertz travels in free space along the x direction. The electric field component of the wave at a particular point of space and time is 6 volt per meter along y direction. Its magnetic field component B at this point would be, you are given 4 options. As you are familiar in MCQs, you have to find out basically what is the value of the magnetic field at the particular point, and you also have to find the direction. 2 things have been asked for you in the question, and that particular option, particular answer which matches with one of the MCQ answers, you have to take. So what is given here? The frequency is given, the direction in which wave is traveling. What is that direction? Let's see. A plane electromagnetic wave or this much frequency travels along the x direction. So direction in which wave is traveling is x direction. And what about the direction of the electric field? It is y direction. You see, it is given E is equal to 6 volt per meter along y direction. So y direction is the direction of E. Direction of propagation of the wave is the x direction. So let's see the magnetic field. First the magnitude, then the direction. Now E naught by B naught is C. You have seen it in your formulas. So what will be B naught? B naught will be E naught by C. E naught is given to you. What is E naught? 6 volt per meter. So 6 divided by what? C. 3 into 10 to the power of 8, this many Tesla. So TT is standing for Tesla. So B naught is 6 by 3 into 10 to the power of 8 Tesla. So just 3 will cancel, and by 6, 2 into 10 to the power of minus 8 Tesla. That is the value of B naught. So one of the answer is solved for us. We are asked the magnetic field component at the particular point. That is this answer. But we are also, you can see, we have to get the direction also. So for direction, our pointing vector will come to our rescue. That is delta is E cross H. So E is given to you along Y direction, and the wave traveling direction is the direction of pointing vector. So you can apply the cross product. That is E is along the J direction, J cap direction, and pointing vector is along the which direction? I cap direction. So when you apply the cross product, so what will be the direction of H or B? The same thing. So it will be, when you apply the cross product, it will be Z or K cap direction. Got it? So I think you are faster than me in doing that cross product thing. So that will be obtained to be Z direction or I cap direction. Okay. So now we have evaluated both the things which were being asked. The magnitude of B, that is 2 into 10 to the power of minus 8 Tesla, and the direction, which is K cap direction. Now let's see from our options. 2 into 10 to the power of minus 8 Tesla is arriving in the option A as well as option C. So out of these two options, we have to see, this will be decided by the direction. We have found out which direction, Z direction. So what option is correct? Option A is correct. That is 2 into 10 to the power of minus 8 Tesla along Z direction. So correct choice is A. 2 into 10 to the power of minus 8 Tesla along Z direction. Okay. Next question. So that is on the displacement current. You can read the question. Let's read it together now. Calculate the displacement current through a parallel plate air-filled capacitor having plates of area 10 centimeters square separated by a distance of 2 millimeter and connected to a 360 volt 1 megahertz source. You see, the EMT problems are like very long in wordings. You have to see what is being given and you have to judge that what is being asked. That is half the battle one, that you can decide what is given and what is asked. So displacement current we have to calculate. We are given capacitors plate area, separation distance, and connected to the parameter this 360 volt 1 megahertz. Now let's see. JD is del D by del T. You have seen it in the earlier slide. This is epsilon 0 del E by del T. This also. Now the plane wave we are taking as E is equal to E naught exponential I. One bracket is missing here. Bracket start after I. K dot R minus omega T. So I repeat, E is equal to E naught exponential I K dot R minus omega T. Now we introduce here the operator equivalence, that if this is our plane wave solution, then what will be del by del T value? Del by del T, if you take of this expression, you will get the same expression multiplied by minus I omega. So del by del T is equivalent to minus I omega if we take this plane wave solution, not always. It is not standard. And del by del R, or gradient for that matter, this is equivalent to what? If we take del by del R of above expression, we get IK. So del by del T operator equivalence we can take to be minus I omega. Del by del R magnitude we can take equivalent to IK. Suppose we have taken omega T minus K dot R, then it will also get reversed. Del by del T will become I omega and del by del R will become minus IK. Ultimately the things are going to be the same, but that is how we can take the operator equivalence for substitution in our numericals. So let's see. JD is del D by del T is epsilon 0 del E by del T. That is the once again the standard formula. So the magnitude of that will be, I would go away, epsilon naught omega E. Epsilon naught omega JD is equal to epsilon naught omega E. E is given as potential by the distance. So let us see how to proceed. JD is epsilon naught omega E. So epsilon naught omega V by D. That is, we have put in the value of E. So JD is equal to epsilon naught omega V by D. Now epsilon naught has the standard value of 8.85 into 10 to the power of minus 12, but sometimes we can also use the value of 10 to the power of minus 9 upon 36 pi. Because in numericals, sometimes it becomes simpler to cut pi's. So this value is also the equivalent of the long value. So what will be our displacement current? Because we are asked, you can see in the question, we are asked the displacement current and not the density. So the current will be JD multiplied by area, because displacement current density is displacement current per unit area. So ID will be what? JD into A, magnitude of current displacement density into area. So it is the all the values are substituted here, epsilon 0 omega V by D, that is JD expression, and then multiplied by area. So you keep on putting all the values, 10 to the power of minus 9 by 36 pi. Then omega will come. Omega is 2 pi frequency. What is the frequency given? Frequency is 1 megahertz. So it will get multiplied by 10 to the power of 6. And then what all is there? V, 360 volts. 360 will come. D, what is D? D is 2 millimeter. So 2 millimeter you have to convert to meter. So multiplication factor will come. So you put all the values in. So many values, 10 to the power of minus 9 into 360 into 10 into 10 to the power of minus 4 into 2 pi into 10 to the power of 6 divided by 36 pi into 10 to the power of minus 3. So they are basically the values of epsilon naught omega V by D into area pi r square. So when you calculate this, or you can take my word for that and do it later on, that will come out to be 10 milliamps. So the answer for ID would be 10 milliamps, and that is what is being asked in the question. The displacement current is being asked in the question. So this is how to calculate arrive at the displacement current, by calculating the displacement current density, multiplying it by the area. Next question. You can read the question. Show that current flowing between capacitor terminals is equal to the displacement current for an air-filled parallel plate capacitor, which is made of circular plates, each of radius 0.8 meters. The spacing between the disc is 0.1 meter, and a voltage of 10 cos 10 to the power of 3t volts has been applied across the capacitor plates. Now this numerical is a kind of very fundamental numerical, because you have been asked to calculate, or show rather, that displacement current is equal to IC is equal to ID. So this will also serve to show us one of the important properties of displacement current. IC is equal to ID. We will discuss this property more in detail at the end of the numerical. So basically you have to find from the formula IC, and you have to form ID. Okay, so let's tackle them one by one. So many things are given, and we are asked to find out IC and ID. So let's see how to do that. You have been able to follow the numerical, that IC is asked, ID is asked, they will come to be equal. So these are the two parts of the question. In one part we are calculating ID, in the second part we are calculating IC, and in the final we will show that IC is equal to ID. Okay. For ID, let's take it started. E is given by V by D, standard formula for electricity. So what is V, what is D? V is given voltage of 10 cos 10 to the power of 3t. So 10 cos 10 to the power of 3t in the numerator. D is given to us as 0.1 meter. So 0.1 comes in the denominator, and 0.1 when goes up will become 100 cos 10 to the power of 3t. So JD is equal to epsilon 0 del E by del T by the formula we know so many times we have used. So epsilon 0 I'm going to keep as epsilon 0 in both the parts. Epsilon 0, now where from 10 to the power of 5, because we have to differentiate E. So we will get 10 to the power of 3 outside. It will combine with 100. So 10 to the power of 5. Then differential of cos will give you sine. So we are talking of magnitude, so it will not matter. Sine 10 to the power of 3t. So JD will come out to be epsilon 0 10 to the power of 5 sine 10 to the power of 3t. This is epsilon 0 del E by del T. Now the current you already know, it is connected to the displacement current density by simple multiplication by area. Okay, so area is what? Area is pi r square, and radius is, where is radius coming? Radius is 0.8 meter. So let's put it 0.8 square, pi 0.8 square, that's the area part. Then epsilon 0 10 to the power of 5 sine 10 to the power of 3t. So we have completed everything or missed out anything? Pi 0.8 square, that is the area. Then JD part is epsilon 0 10 to the power of 5 sine 10 to the power of 3t. So when you multiply, this is 0.64, the square of 0.8 multiplied by 3.14, that will give you roughly 2 epsilon 0 10 to the power of 5 sine 10 to the power of 3t. That's our answer to ID. Equation number 1. We are asked two things: displacement current and conduction current. So, and we have to further show them that they are equal also. So ID comes out to be 2 epsilon 0 10 to the power of 5 sine 10 to the power of 3t. That's it. This is the equation number 1. Now our task remains. It is not complete. Our IC, we have to calculate conduction current. So by definition, this is dq by dt. Q you know is CV. D by dt of CV. C is a standard. So C we can take out of the differential dV by dt, and C is A epsilon 0 by D. Usual formula, all of you are knowing that. Epsilon 0, A epsilon 0 by D, dV by dt. So now here, this part you can, to substitute yourself, I have not done it here. You can put it area, epsilon 0, D and dV by dt. And finally, I can just show you that it will come out to be 2 epsilon 0, 10 to the power of 5 sine 10 to the power of 3t. So IC is equal to ID finally. And this, I was telling you that this discusses an important property of displacement current, that it serves to make the total current continuous across a discontinuity. This is an important statement. I will repeat it, that displacement current serves to make the current continuous across a discontinuity. So if we are taking the charging of a capacitor, the current flowing in the lead wires is equal to the current flowing in the between the capacitor plates. Between the capacitor plates, it is arising because of the displacement current that is arising because of the change of the electric field. So change of electric field giving rise to displacement current, that is the giving rise to the equivalent current between the capacitor plates, and this will be equal to the conduction current in the rest of the circuit. So IC is equal to ID. ID is serving us to make the current continuous across a discontinuity in the circuit. Now let's see our next question. You can first read the question, because this is also quite a conceptual question. So first read it very thoroughly. assume mu is equal to mu 0, show that the ratio of the amplitudes of the conduction current density and displacement current density, we are asked two parts, is this ratio is sigma by omega epsilon for the applied field E is equal to E naught cos omega t. So in the first part, we have to show that the ratio of IC by ID is sigma upon omega epsilon. In the special case, when E is equal to E naught cos omega t. Have you understood the question well? That by omega epsilon for the applied field, E is equal to E naught cos omega t. This is the one part. Let us see the first part first, and then we will come to the reading of the second part. So you first focus on 10A. You have to take the JC by JD ratio and show it to be sigma upon omega epsilon. Now the conduction current, all of you know, is sigma E. Sigma is the conductivity. So JC is by definition given by sigma E. So if we are taking E value as given in the question, E is equal to E naught cos omega t. So if we are putting it here, sigma E0 cos omega t. And JD is what? JD is del D by del T, or epsilon del E by del T. So epsilon is as such, and we are taking the derivative of E. Now this 0 is not in the multiplication, is the subscript of E actually. It is E0. So please don't consider it as multiplied by 0. Otherwise the whole thing will become 0. It is epsilon omega E0 sine omega t. So actually sometimes the computer also plays mischief and it is too much work. So epsilon omega E naught sine omega t. So you have understood how we have obtained JD. It is epsilon times del E by del T, and your E is E naught cos omega t. So the derivative will be omega E naught with the minus sign, sine omega t. The minus sign will not matter in magnitude. So that is what is written here. So obviously when you take the magnitude of JC and divide by JD, you are going to get sigma upon omega epsilon. So your answer to the first part would be JC magnitude by JD, magnitude is sigma by omega epsilon. You have to remember this expression good, because this is going to help us in the our way of assessing whether the material is a good conductor or a dielectric. Then we have to calculate or judge by this ratio. JC magnitude by JD magnitude is sigma upon omega epsilon. A lot of numericals, many numericals are also based upon these values for calculation of conduction current to the displacement current density, and you have to use this formula sigma upon omega epsilon. So let's give it number 1. So this is our answer to the part 10A. Okay, now let's see 10B. The same thing, but E value is given different. So read the question, please. What is the ratio of the amplitudes if the applied field is E is equal to E naught e raised to power minus t by tau? Tau, you will see further, we will come to it for, later on. You will see that it is a relaxation time. But at the moment, we have to just consider the equation. E is equal to E naught e raised to power minus t by tau, where tau is real. Okay, so it is exactly the same thing what is being done in the 11A part. Only thing is that the value of E is different here. So if E is equal to E naught e raised to power minus t by tau, what is our JC? Simply multiplied by sigma. So JC is sigma E0 e raised to power minus t by tau, and JD you have to write epsilon del E by del T. So once again, when you are going to take the differential, you are going to get tau in the denominator. So epsilon by tau E naught e raised to power minus t by tau. That is the magnitude of JD. So JC magnitude upon JD magnitude will be sigma tau upon epsilon. Okay, sigma tau upon epsilon. So our answer, this is equation 2. This is the answer to the part that what is the ratio of the amplitudes if the applied field is E is equal to E naught e raised to power minus t by tau. So if this is the electric field, our answer is sigma tau by epsilon. If our electric field is E naught cos omega t, our answer is sigma upon omega epsilon. Next question. Please read the question very carefully.
Rachna ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, it's 1 hour, 10 minutes already. We have to give them a 5 minutes break and we have to take their attendance.
Okay.
So, ma'am,
May I
how much
stop
more
here?
time do you require?
Actually, I require maybe 15 minutes more. I can pull these questions in my second recap session and stop at this point.
Yes, that is
That is
also, it's
yes.
absolutely up to you, madam.
Yeah,
It's,
because these last two questions are actually very important. They need to be discussed in detail. So I would prefer that we stop here and I will pull these questions in the next lecture because these we have to discuss in detail. So they will
Okay.
require some 15-20 minutes. So let me come to the end of this time session and we'll do it in the next session.
So you would like to stop here and continue from here in the next session. Have I understood correct, ma'am?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We will take them
That's right.
these two questions in the next this thing because these are important questions concept wise. So here
Yes.
are some list of reference books. Actually, all the books are very good, but you have to actually make. These are some of the books which I referred for these numericals, etc. And there are many more. You will see the list in the given by the Delhi University site as well. So these are some of the reference books which can prove useful. So let me come to the end of this session and you please keep practicing because practicing is the essence of success in any examination. And I have focused not on the theory as you have seen in this session and more on the numericals and the useful formulas and how they can be twisted in different ways to reach to the answer so that the understanding becomes better of the concepts used. So because the theory, I'm very sure that must have gone very thoroughly by this time. So let me thank you and the
Ma'am,
organizers.
please switch on your video once.
Okay. No, I will just escape now. Okay.
Yeah.
I will stop.
So we
Screen
shall
sharing.
take a short break, and for that, during that break, the attendance link will be shared now. And Dr. Rachna, can you please switch on your video for a
Yes, sure.
short second?
Yes, please. Doing it.
Yeah, now it is on.
I might
And
be.
can you please put the spotlight on Rachna ma'am? Yes. Yes, so ma'am, the words are not definitely enough for all this filtering that you have done. The numericals that you have chosen are covering the entire syllabus slowly. So these are examples of the areas of EMT that we must focus upon as a student. Am I correct, ma'am?
Yes, very much so. Very much so. That was
Yes.
my target, that just to give them a sampling of the different types or different concepts that can be utilized. Because theory, I am very sure that they can find in the books.
Yes, yes. And ma'am, you have already shared the reference books list also with us.
Yes.
And the students have been able to see it. And you shall be continuing again with us after 2 days
Yes.
for rest portion of the EMT. And the today's question answers, ma'am, maximum of them are posed by the students who probably have not done their BSc third year or are still at the basic level. And
Okay.
therefore, we would do something. We would copy the question answer questions that they have asked, and we shall pass them on to you, and you can then appropriately answer them, and we can put it back to them
Yes.
for their information, because most of them are very basic in nature. And and as per going as per schedule, we have to now give the attendance link. So Dr. Savita, please enable chat, please put the attendance link, and students, the attendance link will be on for 15 minutes only, and your attendance is also automatically recorded in Zoom. So your attendance that you fill in the form should be only your attendance, and the link cannot be shared out because we shall be tallying it with the Zoom attendance, which is automatic as soon as you enter. This is so, ma'am, Rachna ma'am, thank you again so much.
Thank you, Dr. Rachna. Thank you so much. It was a very good term.
Thank you, Dr. Bindal, and hello to Dr. Gitanjali. And I'm signing off for today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so
Dr.
much.
Rachna, for a very good lecture. Thank you.
So much. Thank you.